Well, let me welcome you to our Tuesday, July the 15th, 2014 Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Madam Clerk, I'll do the roll call at this time. We have two absences. Commissioner Britton is out of town on a meeting with his company, and Commissioner Abley will not be here due to the illness of his wife. But we do have a quorum present along with the county manager and the county attorney. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask you to silence all your mobile devices that you have with you, please, if you'll do that for me. Our next item of business will be our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. If you will stand with me, Commissioner Maynard Taylor will be doing our invocation, and as soon as the invocation is over, I will be leading you in the Pledge of Allegiance. Maynard.
May we pray. Our Father, we pray that you forgive us for all of our acts and thoughts that would keep us from approaching your throne. Father, we're so thankful that you have blessed us with another day, with health, for strength. Father, we pray for the wisdom to conduct the business of the county tonight. Father, pray that we have the discernment that would be pleasing unto thee. Lead, guide, and direct. Father, we pray that you protect our employees, you protect our citizens of Burke County. Father, give them a good week, a good month, and Father, bless everything that you can for our county in way of employment, health, and strength. For we ask in thy most holy name. Amen.
Amen. If you will join me in pledging allegiance to the greatest nation on earth. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so very much. You may be seated. Gentlemen, the next thing on our agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes. Our minutes are from June the 2nd, 2009, minutes from June the 4th, 2009, minutes from October the 6th, 2009. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that the clerk is required to do is go back and look at minutes, and we have discovered that there were some issues with minutes in 2009. We discussed it in our pre-agenda meeting, and we will take those up tonight in our regular session. We also have minutes from May the 20th of 2014, our regular session, June the 3rd, 2014, the recess budget, June the 3rd, 2014, our joint BOC and BOE special meeting, June the 9th, 2014, our recess budget meeting, which has been revised, gentlemen, and June the 12th, 2014, a recess budget meeting. Gentlemen, you've had time to take a look at these. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve, you want them all at the same time?
Yes, sir.
That we approve all these minutes as is on the agenda.
Any discussion, Jack?
No.
Okay. You've heard the motion by Maynard. All in favor, raise your right hand. It'd be 3-0, Madam Clerk. Gentlemen, you've had a copy of the agenda. There are some changes in the agenda. You've had opportunity to look at those changes. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Thank you, Jack. You've heard Jack's motion. All in favor, raise your right hand. 3-0, Madam Clerk. We'll move on to our presentations. At this time, we'll recognize Mr. Ed Phillips, the Executive Director of the Burke County Tourism Department, for a presentation of the 2014 Progress Report. Hey, Ed.
Good evening. I was telling you guys earlier, this is our busiest week of the year so far for tourism in Burke County, and we have a lot going on. You'll notice on your screen there is a PowerPoint that I've put together, and I'd like to go through that with you for a few moments and entertain any questions and talk about a couple of updates to the slides as well. Figure out how this thing's going to work. Turn it on.
It works every time like that, doesn't it?
You didn't tell me to turn it on.
Okay.
All right. Still not moving forward.
All right, we'll try one other thing, Ed.
You just want me to prompt you?
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll do it the old-fashioned way.
Yes, sir.
So the Tourism Development Authority of Burke County was created in July of 2007. We're a 9-member board of directors. We're funded by a 6% tax added to the hotel, motel, and other lodging bills. And this year, our current fiscal budget, which ended on June 30th, we had a $377,000 budget. That included $65,000 from Golden Leaf holdback. And our tax revenue budget, or occupancy tax budget, is up 16% over the previous fiscal year to $350,000. Actual revenues may exceed $365,000. Got a report from Paul today. We're down a little bit in, I guess it was April, but not significant. Morganton and Valdez also receive a portion of the accommodations tax, and that's used for tourism marketing, advertising, public relations, and staffing. Our general objectives are to increase the number of visitors to Burke County, increase visitation to the Burke County Visitor Center, increase the occupancy tax collected in Burke County, to create new jobs directly and indirectly related to tourism, and also to share more information about travel and tourism with Burke County. We've had several strategies, including print advertising, social media, things such as Facebook and Twitter, and public relations media tours. Some of the print advertising includes ads that we've run promoting the Linville Gorge, the Trailhead campaign, which we ran last year. Also, the Brown Mountain Lights are still a mystery, and I handed out coverage that we received in the June issue of Our State magazine this year, 7 pages on the mysterious Brown Mountain Lights. I also have a magazine publisher coming to Burke County on July 31st that wants to try to see the lights, and she's writing for another magazine out of South Carolina. We've also had information distributed on the Catawba Valley Wine Trail all along Interstate 40. We're a big part of that. We created that. And then we have billboards on I-40, the Brown Mountain Lights Adventure Headquarters. We're going to go through a change for that coming up in September, where we're going to, for the first time ever, publicize and talk about coming to Burke County to see the beautiful leaves, the fall foliage. So our public relations campaign includes news releases, media tours, and media requests. Had 2 phone calls yesterday from Los Angeles, California, looking at shooting a motion picture here, 2 different motion pictures. An unintended consequence of the expiration of the film incentive, the tax credits, is that a lot of these production companies are rushing their jobs ahead to film in North Carolina before the end of the year. And so I had 2 calls on that yesterday, and we also had film being shot in Drexel this past week. And then there was one in Old Fort as well. So the public relations, you can see there we have superlatives. We talk about what Burke County has that no one else has, including the deepest gorge east of the Mississippi. We have the largest state park in North Carolina at South Mountain State Park. We're also the only county in North Carolina that has 2 state parks. And also some of the things that we have are Table Rock and Hawksbill, that are the most recognizable mountains in North Carolina. And you can see coming up, we have media tours where we bring in journalists twice a year that write about Burke County. And we deal with media requests. Like I said yesterday, we have phone calls looking for information for magazines, television stations. I deal with a lot of those. And so in the past couple of years, from 2011 to 2013, we have seen some tremendous results, including increases in the visitor center traffic. We've also measured $1.5 million in public relations earned media. That means the articles that were written, if we had to purchase those as ads, that's what they would be worth. And we've had over 45 newspaper and magazine articles covering attractions in Burke County. The Burke Visitor Center, located inside the Chamber of Commerce, has grown substantially. In 2011, we had 2,470 visitors, and in 2012, we had 4,433. And in 2012, 1/3 of our visitors came through there were interested in the Hunger Games movie being filmed in Burke County. This past year, the Hunger Games dropped off, and we're back to 2,793. And so far in 2014, which is not on this report, but in 2014 for the spring, we have been up almost every month since January. And the Burke Visitor Center, which is located inside the Chamber of Commerce, We have a lot of visitors, and we've seen an uptick in the number of folks looking to relocate to Burke County. And I've been there 4 years. It's been unbelievable how many folks, couples we've had. The hard winter up in the Midwest and the Northeast has been a significant part of that. And then also there's Hunger Games. You can see what we've done with that. We've had lots of groups come in. We've even had groups this past week come in to, about the Hunger Games. And then you'll see some of the earned media. The Wine Buzz is a Ohio-based magazine. They came on one of our media tours and went back home and wrote about Burke County and put it on the front page of their Ohio magazine. Upstate Lake Living is a lifestyle magazine in South Carolina that also discussed Burke County, and WNC magazine as well. Flee to the Foothills was an article that ran in that. Now, there's been an update with the next slide, tourism-related jobs. Part of our Golden Leaf requirement for that grant was to keep track of jobs that were created from 2010 to 2014. We just updated this last week, this report. It's now 977 new jobs and counting, $41 million in new capital investment, and $958,000 of grants and special loans were used to attract some of these businesses. The next slides show some of the businesses that have been created here that are tourism, directly tourism related, including Silver Fork Vineyard and Winery, the Beanstalk Journey Zip Line, which just opened in 2010, My Local Bakery, which I kid those folks all the time, 99.9% of the people that walk in their door buy something. How'd you like to have a business like that? Patterson's Amish Furniture just recently relocated from another location into downtown Morganton, doing exceptionally well. They have billboards on I-40 bringing people in off the interstate. 70% of their customers are from out of town. The Old Country Store, which is above Morgan and Feed and Seed, and then the Pie Hole Pizza place that just opened, or moved, I should say, tripled the number of employees and tripled their sales. So why do people come here? We have some very unique events that occur here. This weekend, Saturday, we have 350 runners from many states and Canada running in the Peak to Creek Marathon. Starts in Jonas Ridge and finishes in Mortimer. We had the Red, White, and Bluegrass Festival a few weeks ago. There's a youth sporting event in town this week. 45 softball teams from all over the Southeast and the Caribbean are here playing in a tournament through Sunday. So you'll see those license tags. I saw a whole group of them from Alabama a few moments ago. We also have regional bridge tournaments, the GNCC race at Steel Creek Park, the Jawara and Berry Site Archaeological Dig, Historic Morgan Festival, Wadensian Festival, to name a few. There's many others that bring people to town as well. We have created the most unusual yet official Morgan Trail Guide, and this is a guide about all of Burke County, using Morganton as the hub, if you will, in the spoke system to get people here and then dispersed out to see Table Rock, Linville Gorge, Lake James, Valdez. We also have an area map that directs people. The attractions in Burke County are diverse. We have publicly owned attractions, including Lake James and South Mountain State Park, the Pisgah National Forest, the Linville Gorge Pisgah area, Linville Falls, Catawba Meadows Park, the Catawba River Greenway, and the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is part of the National Park Service. Other attractions including 5 wineries and vineyards, the Apple Hill Orchard, the outdoor drama from this day forward, which started last Friday and will run for 5 weekends, Friday and Saturday nights. If you have not seen that drama, it is one of the best in the state, and I encourage folks to go by there and see that. The Beanstalk Journey Zip Line, what's unique about that, there's zip lines all over, but they allow children as young as 4 years old to zip. No place else in North Carolina has that. Steel Creek Park Campground and Day Use Area, the Trail of Faith, Festival of Lights, and Jonas Ridge Snow Tubing are all very unique attractions to Burke County. There's some other slides here that basically just show a tent, discoverburkecounty.com, that we have. We take to festivals and put it out to promote the county. Talking to people is our best way of reaching them, finding out what their interests are, and giving them and delivering them what they want. So we've also had published articles about Burke County, including AAA Go magazine, like I said, the Wine Buzz, WNC magazine. There's a whole list of those that continues to grow. I I'll also say last October, we collected in that month the single highest month of occupancy tax ever collected. And it was almost $45,000 for that 1 month. So the conclusions of this report, we've seen a significant increase in relocating families and couples, weekend visitors, and then, of course, the jobs, 977 new tourism-related jobs since 2010 in restaurants, retail, wineries, and there's more to come. We're also look for this year to publish a guide to art galleries and studios that are open to the public. We just recently printed a fun things to do with girlfriends rack card, and that's been very popular in the visitor center. We're also doing weekly website updates to our websites with new places to stay, cabins on the lake, whatever new attractions that are going through, and a monthly tourism report, which I think some of you have received and others about the visitation, and a consumer newsletter, which we started back in May. So we're looking to support and develop new tourism businesses as well as existing. I get out and speak to civic and government organizations on the economic impact of tourism in our community. And here in a few weeks, we're going to hear from the state of North Carolina about the 2013 impact from tourism. In 2012, it was an $80 million impact on the county. 2013 should be substantially larger than that. And that's pretty much my report. I'd be willing to answer any questions or talk about anything else that's going on in the county.
Gentlemen, the floor is open to speak to Ed about anything you'd like to.
Mr. Chairman, not especially a question, but kind of repeat what we said at pre-agenda. I think it's interesting to note that these jobs that the tourism is bringing to Burke County are in addition to the jobs that we as the county are out trying to also bring new jobs to the county. So it is a huge impact on the county.
No, it is, does a good job over there. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Once again, Ed, we do appreciate everything that you've done over there. I met with Ed and Jerry at the Chamber of Commerce recently and got to spend a good day with them. I'm very impressed by how we've moved tourism forward. I laid a challenge on Ed. I told him the dollars was great, but I'd like to see a few more. So he's up to the challenge. Tourism is economic development, and it's part of community development. So we commend him for what he's doing and what Jerry's doing in the Chamber of Commerce, and we look forward for great things. So there's no action to be required on Ed's presentation, so without any objection, I will receive Ed's report. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
We have no scheduled public hearings for tonight. We'll move on to item number 8, which is informal public comments. Madam Clerk, anybody sign up tonight?
Mr. Chairman, I'm pleased to report we have 5 speakers tonight. I would go ahead and call Mr. Richard Garrison to the podium.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for signing up. Please let me remind you, when you come to the podium, please state your name for the record and stay as close to 3 minutes as you can for me, if you would. Richard?
Chairman Carswell, Commissioners, thank you. Richard Garrison, live here in Morganton. I came to talk to you tonight about the publicly funded Burke County REACT team. Some information has been made available recently concerning issues with that team, and I have some handouts for the commissioners if I can provide those for you.
Pass those to the clerk.
And briefly, what I want to point out here, to stay as close to 3 minutes or less as I can, is if you look at that top copy, that's a copy I received as then Vice Chairman of the Board of Directors of REACT in November of last year, I believe on the 14th, that ended the following Monday on the 15th. And that's the top page showing some expenditures on a basically a monthly or bi-monthly basis, I guess at this point. Really doesn't qualify as a quarter, as 3 months. But other than several things that I've highlighted there for you, I draw your attention specifically to an area here on both of these reports from October 10th, the listing for auto fuel of $638.01 for that October for that month, and a listing in November on the 15th for $614.02. And if you will, look at the accompanying page that I've added there that shows a copy of the membership guide that I received when I became a member, showing that all officers using a team car shall buy their own gasoline and oil, may drive their cars anytime desired except on vacations. But at the bottom, an exception, the maximum charge account per month for each car used for team business shall be limited to $25. I'm as a taxpayer and a citizen, very concerned that if you look at the 638 and then the 614 in November, both of those are for a 31-day cycle. That would far exceed $25 a month, even if you split it a couple of different ways. And the concern there is that there is an apparent lack of accountability in what's going on. And I would also point out to you in this short time that I have that when I brought this to the attention of the Board of Directors as the Vice Chairman, I was immediately and aggressively verbally attacked for quote unquote talking bad about the Burke County REACT team. I just like the citizens and everyone to know that I enjoyed my time there, enjoy that organization. It does wonderful work. It's a part of a chartered international organization and does great things for this county and the other areas it serves. But as you know, there are times when certain financial questionable activities need to be looked into when you have a nonprofit that is funded almost entirely by public funds, as the REACT team is. And I wanted to bring that to you tonight to offer for you to look at and decide if that appears to be a normal expenditure. If I do the math on there, that equates to something like 22,000 miles a year on a vehicle. And I've owned several vehicles in my life, but I've never driven that many miles in a year. And even at $3.60 a gallon, the going rate for gas, that's a lot of usage, if in fact that is just gasoline expense, as well as other items on this report. You'll notice at the bottom a listing for an audit and $9.90. I questioned that in January and was told that it was a financial review, and nonetheless this permanent document says audit, which would have been something of a greater expense than $2,075. So at best this is sort of sloppy bookkeeping. At worst there might be something that you folks want to look into a little deeper and decide if it's really what the taxpayers and the citizens need to be doing without some sort of accountability. And I'll answer any questions if you have anything.
Thank you, Richard. What I'm going to do is accept your report you've given to us tonight, and I'm going to direct the county manager to take a look at that report and get back to us with a recommendation, if there is a recommendation, after he reviews that report. And thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Next, we have Jeff Johns.
My name is Jeff Johns. I live at 5443 Highway 126, which is at the intersection of Fish Hatchery Road, approximately 0.8 of a mile from the proposed shooting range that the Wildlife Commission has ordered up for this area. And I just want to say a few things about the area, the reason why I came up here, and the reason why my neighbors who live next door to me, I've got a couple rental properties. The reason why we enjoy the area up there, the peace and the quiet, the ready accessibility to recreational activities. And I just wanted to make my opinion known that I just don't think that this shooting range is a good location, the present location. There are other areas in Burke County that could easily house something like this. As I said, I've had this property for 30 years, and I've had 3 rentals next door for all of this time, and to a person I've rented to Burke County or Morganton police officers, outward bound employees, run the gamut from all kinds of people who have come to Lake James to build a house at East Shores or South Point. And to a person, they've told me that the reason they come is for the peace and the quiet, the tranquility, and the access to the wonderful recreational activities at their doorstep. So I'd just like to say that a couple of my residents or tenants, neighbors, have told me that they've spent the last part of their retirement researching all of the lakes in the southeast and which one would be a good place, which lake would be the best one to retire to. And I've had 2 particular people who have told me they spent years researching it, and they thought that Lake James was the nicest lake in the entire southeast. I just feel that this proposal for a shooting range is going to create all kinds of negative impacts for not only the residents, the people living at the lake and want to buy real estate at the lake, but hikers and naturalists who enjoy the Linville Gorge. So I don't know if you saw the information I left last time, but my particular, one of the biggest concerns other than the noise is the safety factor. And I'd like to leave an article, just one of the many I've taken off the internet, addressing safety issues, being less than a mile from the site. I'm concerned about ricochets, overshots, that sort of thing. In fact, the way it's designed, it's actually aimed right at my property. And this is a major concern to me. But I just wanted to thank you for allowing us to speak and voice our opinion on this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. You can leave that with Madam Clerk there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Paul Braun.
I'm Paul Braun. I've been involved in environmental and conservation work the last 20 years of my life. Got old enough to choose what I would spend my civic duty or what I would do or give back to the community. I found myself involved in conservation and environmental work. It's my passion. I love it. And as a result, through the years, I've been on a number of different boards. I've worked with numerous different groups on different conservation projects and so forth pertaining to land protection and getting recreational opportunity in places where it wasn't and that sort of thing. So I've been asked numerous times to be involved with different groups of people and so forth, and then this naturally I ended up involved in this, and I was asked to speak in regard to some people, and I came here and I wanted to clarify something or get something on record here that I don't speak or represent anyone who's against a shooting range. The folks everyone that I've talked to or been involved with in this and that spoke to me about it are not against having a shooting range, but they're real concerned about location and so forth. And I, as a sportsman and a hunter and someone who owns and loves to shoot, I'm 100% for a facility to serve this need. It is much needed, and there's numerous opportunities and places where we can achieve a suitable solution to provide a site for this. And there's some very good people working on this, working with some people in Raleigh that are at the top in wildlife and wildlife management. They're now even working and looking at possibility of bridging over and working possibly on some project sites possibly with the National Forest. That's something that's possible. But the point I'm making, there's a lot of really good people working on this thing who really know what they're doing, and they've been involved in this kind of thing for a long time. And the problem at hand is locating and finding a site that is really suitable, that won't bring the negative impacts that could be experienced and will be experienced with the Lake James site. The Lake James site, you'll hear it across that lake. Even if it's a low decimal, it'll be a constant pow, 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 pow across that lake while you're fishing or whatever you're doing on the lake. If you're up on top of short off mountain, you're going to hear in the distance, pow, 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 pow. You know, anywhere you'll hear it. It may not be as loud as if you're there, but you will hear a constant firing range. And I live 5 miles from one, and I hear it all the time. And in the wintertime, it can be kind of annoying. But the bottom line is this site hadn't been, this is not the only site, and this hadn't been decided wholeheartedly as being the only site, and they're looking at other opportunities. And as this moves forward and as they decide and look at other locations, I hope that this board will be very supportive, because this is a need that needs met, but it needs to be met in a manner that won't put negatives on people, other folks that enjoy the recreation up there for other reasons other than shooting. And I just wanted everyone to know that, you know, this isn't about we're against this and we want this and don't want that. That's not what there's no controversy there at all. And I just, in listening to the tourism report and so forth, I listened to that and everything, and everything in that report are things that are, you know, could be saw as a concern with this project. And I would like to say, in regard to the tourism thing, I think that that is something that needs to be, we need to really proceed with caution on how we promote and advertise this, our local area, because the very things that make this area so special to those of us that's lived here all our life are threatened by over-advertising and over-promotion. The very things that we love most about this place can be overrun and trampled down if we're not careful how we advertise and promote this area. Thank you very much for allowing the public to have opportunity to address the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Braun.
Denise Bishop.
I'm sorry.
Denise Bishop.
I totally agree with Paul on many things that he brought out tonight, and you've seen us before, and you have all kinds of information that we've shared with you. But I want to take the time to thank each one of you for letting us speak tonight at this public comment opportunity. I'm speaking on behalf of the citizens opposed to the shooting range. Finding another location for the shooting range would be just the right thing to do, as this area is driven by ecotourism and conservation standards that are already in place for Lake James, Linville Gorge, and the state parks that are developed there. It is in this area that most of us seek only the sounds of nature. The placement of such facility would result in audible gunshots in the southern end of the gorge and would be an earshot from the subdivision where I live called Fonta Flora. Also, it may impact wildlife in the area, as 15 nesting blue herons are in the East Lake area right now in what is known as the Linville Bottoms, and also 3 bald eagles. These land holdings are some 100+ acres, were set aside originally through the work of Paul Braun to protect the water quality and our water resources, and to support the local hunting in selective hunting to make sure that the game are in balance. Also in this area, since I'm an avid hiker, is the Mountain to the Sea Trail, which will clip the far end of the shooting range. And this shooting range will also come across the river from what we call the old Boy Scout Camp Dam. Also in this same confined is the connector trail called the Blue Dot Trail. On any given weekend, the Blue Dot Trail, there's probably 11 to 12 cars there, folks that are utilizing that connector trail to get into the gorge or to get on the Mountain to the Sea Trail. Please join us in considering to ask the North Carolina Resource Commission to look for a better suitable site. I know for a fact they have thousands of acres that are available near Highway 64 and 226 in a place called Lonesome Mountain. and there's not any development close by there. I thank you again for your time.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Bishop.
Polly Ledbetter.
Polly Ledbetter. I'm going to address the proposed gun site also, not only from a real estate perspective, which is my profession, but also as a resident of the community. I live about 2.5 miles from the proposed gun site, and I can hear many gunshots just from local neighbors, which I know are, just random gunshots, but it's noise pollution. From a tourism standpoint, I think what this county is trying to do is really promote tourism in this area, especially at the lake and in the gorge. And I think that the gunfire will negatively detract from all of that. And not only so much the noise, but I think the assumption people feel when there's guns being shot close by. It's not something that makes a lot of people who aren't used to that feel safe, especially if they're going out hiking in the woods. One thing that, from a real estate perspective, is every person who sells a property in the state of North Carolina, single-family residents, must fill out this disclosure form, which I'll give you copies of. But on page 3, line number 26, which I've highlighted, property owners must disclose if there's any noise, odor, smoke from commercial, industrial, military sources. If this becomes an issue that people have to check this off on every time they sell their property, it's going to be a negative impact there as well. I just think it's not that I don't believe in guns. I have a concealed weapons permit. I've taken training to do such. I don't believe in not having them. I believe people should be able to carry guns if they feel like it and be able to shoot and practice so that they can carry them responsibly. I just think there's probably better locations for that in the county. The Lake James and Linville Gorge area, I moved here from Colorado 13 years ago. I appreciate the beauty of it, enjoy it, and I love it. I hike, I'm out on the lake, I run around the lake, I bike around the lake. I like to feel safe and be able to promote that to other people in my job and in my personal life. So I just feel like there's probably a better location we can put that in the county that is not as much of a draw for other ecotourism industries, less for hiking and all that the other issues that come through. But I'll leave you the copy of this disclosure so you can look that over. And thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Ledbetter. Anyone else, Madam Clerk?
That's all the cards I have.
First of all, let me say thank you very much for coming in and standing up and telling us what you feel, and we do appreciate that very much. I can assure you, we've already, I've instructed the county manager to be in contact with wildlife, and we are in contact with a certain person in wildlife, and we're moving kind of up the chain of command. We found that's the way they're kind of responding to us. Is that correct, Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir.
You want to make a comment?
Well, after the pre-agenda, I went ahead and initiated contact or emails to the state officials and also copied our legislative delegation so that they would know what was going on. And we've also asked that they have a second public hearing and it actually be in Burke County so that people from Burke County they'll have the opportunity to speak and be heard. So I'm waiting to hear back. We've also asked to see their evaluation of the site, how they evaluate sites, and if they are looking at any other sites that may be more conducive to a firing range and not be as disruptive as this one has the potential for being. So that is in progress.
I hope you find what we've done acceptable so far. We've listened to your concerns. As you do understand, this is a state project and it's not a county project. So as far as moving through that chain and getting answers, it will probably take us a while. So I would appreciate your patience as we move through this and do what we can. So thank you, again, thank you very much for being here tonight. All right, we'll move on to item number 9 is our consent agenda. And before we move into the consent agenda, Madam Clerk, if you will review some changes indicated about the Parks and Recreation Commission. I understand we had a late or an application that got lost in somewhere. And can you please explain that to us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'll turn to page 337 in your agenda packet, and you also have handouts at your seat. All we've done is noted the receipt of an application from Mr. Reese. We will bring his reappointment to the board at the August meeting, and that we have noted that Mr. McLaughlin's application was not received. So the action we are requesting is for motion number 1 on page 338 is to strike Kevin Reese's name from that motion. He would not be removed at this time. And the third motion, which was to reappoint Mr. McLaughlin, has also been removed as he did not submit an application.
Okay. And it's my understanding, I think, gentlemen, you have a copy of a newspaper article we had where Shannon, I think, was promoted to lieutenant and may be in Raleigh right now. So that was the reason that we brought this before you tonight as we received it. All right, for the consent agenda, Mr. County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, you have a fairly lengthy consent agenda. First, clerk, acceptance of CDBG progress reports submitted to Western Piedmont Council of Government. Number 2, clerk, appointment and removal of Council on Aging. Number 3, clerk, reappointment to Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee. Number 4, clerk, reappointment and removals to the Parks and Recreation Commission revised. Item 5 is Community Development Department, request to approve waiver on Community Development Block Grant, lien for scattered site housing. Number 6, Community Development Department, zoning map amendment ZMA 2014-01, correction ordinance. Number 7, Community Development Department, memorandum of understanding between Burke County and NC Wildlife Resource Commission. Number 8, Code Enforcement, repeal ordinance number 2014-02 regarding a public health nuisance located at 1581 US 70, Connolly Springs, North Carolina. Item 9, clerk, reappointments to the Child Protection Child Fatality Prevention Team. Item 10, fire marshal, appropriation of excess emergency management performance grant EMPG funds to the EMPG rollover. Item 11, health department, resolution donating surplus dental equipment to the Good Samaritan Dental Clinic. Item 12, JCPC, appointment of member to the JCPC. Item 13, JCPC, approval of the pass-through funding for Barium Springs Home for Children from the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. Item 14, Tax Office EMS Collections Report for May 2014. Item 16, Tax Office Tax Release, Refunds, and VTS Report for May 2014. Item 17, BOC, Designation of Voting Member or Delegate to the NCACC Annual Conference. And item 18, County Manager, EMS Base Number 7, Special Inspections. This concludes your items on the consent agenda.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much. All right, gentlemen, you've heard the items on the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Okay, you heard the motion by Jack. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hands. Be 3-0, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Brian. Moving on down to item number 10 is items for decision. Our first item for decision is a Board of Commissioners amendment to the governing board's budget for the fiscal year 14-15, Part 1, presented by Commissioner Jack Carroll. Jack?
Mr. Chairman, as you recall, I made the suggestion and recommendation to pre-agenda, and I based that recommendation on a couple of things. I looked at the MAP site and looked at salaries for or compensation for commissioners across North Carolina, and we seem to come in at the bottom end of the ladder, so to speak. And the way the economy has been for the last 6 or 7 years, cost of living has increased quite a bit. And I don't think the commissioners should be put in a position that they have to use their own funds in order to do the job that they're elected to do. That was my reasoning on that. And of course, the recommendation I made is amend the budget, governing board budget by $7,000. And that commissioners would cover $5,000, and the $2,000 was the clerk of the board. And the same situation with our clerk is like the commissioners, that she is well below the area average of other clerks around the state and the region within around our county. So I think that's unfair, and she needs to be rewarded for what the work that she does and has done and continues to do. So that was my take on this. And I agree with the recommendation of the county manager as to put this on, let the HR take a look at it, these situations, and come back with a recommendation, maybe by the June of next year, because we're not authorized to increase the compensation for county commissioners in mid-budget, only with a budget ordinance. So that's my reasoning for that motion or request.
All right, Jack, I'm going to separate these. These are actually two items for
Yes,
decision.
they are,
You've
right.
explained both of those very eloquently. I want to remind everyone that's here that General Statute 153A-28 forbids us to move on anything as far as the commissioners because the budget ordinance has already been adopted. So I will entertain a second motion if somebody would like to make that as far as the commissioners.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Madam Clerk, the motion is to direct the Human Resource Director to analyze the study for the Board of Commissioners and to report these findings at the first budget workshop in 2015. All of those in favor signify by raising your right hands. That is 3-0. All right, the second part of Jack's motion, or the second part of his presentation, centered around the clerk. Jack, any other details you want us to know about that one?
Well, that's basically what I just covered.
Yeah.
Look at the maps, salary out of Raleigh, and just some of the around the joining counties, their salary is somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000, $60,000, and so forth. And counties are actually smaller than what ours is. So I think she does a lot of work for the money she gets. So I think she deserves consideration for this raise.
All right, any questions or discussions? Maynard, anything?
No, I think that, I think it's important to point out that as commissioners, we did award employees a pay increase, but when some of the employees are on contract, that's a different application. And I think that's the reason for the advice and counsel and wisdom of your county manager and your human resource.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. We have one or the other of these that you can make. So if anyone wants to make either one of these motions.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the salary increase for the clerk, and the amount is listed on the abstract and effective the same date.
All right, you've heard Jack's motion. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? That fails by 2-1. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if you need the second motion, is to direct the Human Resource Director to analyze the salary of the clerk to the board and report the findings at the first budget workshop in year 2015.
I have a subsequent motion. Mr. Attorney, is that one okay? All right. Heard the motion by Maynard to direct the Human Resource Director to analyze the salary for the clerk to the board and report her findings at the first budget workshop in 2015. All in favor of that motion, please raise your right hand.
I'd like to make a comment before we vote.
Yes, sir. You may.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm sorry.
attached to that abstract on the back of it, there's a listing of salaries of all the clerks across North Carolina, and I don't see any reason why the HR would have to go and analyze it, because this is a current report from the Mounts people in Raleigh, And that's what they do, is keep track of salaries across, for state, county employees across North Carolina. So that's, I don't see why she has to waste her time, and because it's already attached to this abstract.
Thank you, Jack, and I do appreciate your comments. And since you've made one, I want to make one too.
Okay.
I just, since we went ahead and passed the budget ordinance, I just don't want to go back at this particular point. Obviously, somebody in their forethought made a general statute that said, you know, don't mess with the budget for the commissioners. And I'm going to base my opinion on that same statute and have that looked at. And I think our human resource director may come back with a maybe something a little bit different even than what you want, Mr. Carroll, that may be adequate and more fitting for the clerk of Burke County. Anything else, Maynard?
Well, the only other comment I was going to make, for me to make that decision today, I would probably want to review the clerk's contract and see what's on it for the forthcoming years. And I just think it's better to work it within a budget workshop series.
Nothing.
Well, we've had 2 weeks to look at this, and I don't see where you need more time to look at it, but that's
Okay.
just my thoughts on it.
All right, so the motion before us now is to direct the Human Resource Director to analyze that salary and report back in the workshop, budget workshop in 2015. All in favor, raise your right hand. Madam Clerk, that passes 2-1. All right, it's time for our reports and comments. Let me start over on the right-hand side with our county attorney.
I have no comments.
No comment, sir.
Well, I would like to ask everybody to pray for rain. My crops and everybody else's crops at Burke County in spots has received some rain, but others has not. So we could use a little rain.
All right. Jack?
The only comment I have, Mr. Chairman, is that if someone, I guess, in county government comes down with serious illness or accident or whatever, I think we need to set up a more responsive to notify people of what their condition is or some information about them. Because, well, you and I got notified of Wayne's wife on Friday, but Jeff, you seen his email, he didn't find out about it until Sunday. So I would suggest, you know, that we start notifying when things like that happen, so people be abreast of it and understand what's going on, and saving a lot of phone calls or asking questions.
Point well taken and duly noted. Madam Clerk?
None for me, thank you.
Again, to kind of embellish on what Jack was saying, please remember Miss Ellie in your prayers. Miss Ellie has ill and has been in the hospital, so I'm sure Wayne and his family would appreciate your prayers. Moving on to our vacancy announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, we have the following vacancies. Hickory Regional Planning Commission, Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee, the Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, the Burke County Planning Board, Library Board of Trustees, Morganton Board of Adjustment for the ETJ, the Voluntary Agricultural District Board, the Industrial Revenue Bond Board, the Burke County Parks and Recreation Commission, and the Child Protection and Child Fatality Prevention Team. We also are advertising some state vacancies: North Carolina Museum of Art, the Cemetery Commission, Environmental Management Commission, and the North Carolina Finance Agriculture Authority.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And again, I would like to publicly ask people, if you're watching tonight, to please take advantage of these vacancies that we have. I know it consumes a lot of your time, but there's a lot of boards here that folks in the county could really help us out a lot. So take advantage of these, and again, they are posted online. To preserve the attorney-client privilege and discuss threatened or pending litigation, discuss economic development matters, and discuss a personnel matter as authorized by North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A, 3, 4, and 6. I will need to go in closed session. I'll need a motion.
So moved, Mr.
Have a
Chairman.
motion by Maynard to go in closed session. All in favor? 3, 2, 0. Madam Clerk, and we will take a short recess before we go into closed session, and I'm going to invite the Deputy County Manager to the meeting. No decision items were made tonight, therefore I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Jack, all in favor? Thank you so very much.